If you're searching for the keys to unlock wealth and freedom, you're in the right place. Let's open the vault. Let's begin with a simple question. Why is it that two people can grow up in the same neighborhood, go to the same schools, even work at similar jobs, yet one ends up wealthy while the other stays broke? It's easy to point fingers at the system, the economy, bad luck. And yes, those things matter. But they're not the root cause. The real problem usually starts long before the first paycheck is ever earned. It begins with a single thought. A quiet belief buried deep inside your mind that whispers, "People like me don't become rich." You might not say it out loud. You might not even realize it's there. But it shows up when you hesitate to ask for a raise. When you feel guilty spending on yourself. When you hear the word wealth and immediately think greed. This isn't just mindset talk. It's psychological conditioning. Most people are walking around with a subconscious wealth rejection program installed in childhood and running on autopilot ever since. And the scary part? You can hustle for 40 years, read all the right books, start businesses, and still sabotage everything because of this one thought. So where does this silent limiter come from? And how do you break free? We're about to peel back the layers, and it starts with a lie you were probably told when you were just a kid. Think back to your childhood. What did you hear about rich people? Maybe it was subtle, your parents rolling their eyes when someone pulled up in a luxury car. Maybe it was direct, statements like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "Rich people are selfish." These weren't just throwaway comments. They were mental blueprints, and they stuck. Over time, they shaped your emotional relationship with money. Here's what most people don't realize: by the age of 7, your subconscious mind has already locked in most of your core beliefs. You absorbed your environment like a sponge, not logically, but emotionally. So if you heard that wealth is bad, or dangerous, or only for those kinds of people, guess what? You'll unconsciously do everything in your power to avoid becoming rich, because in your inner world, rich equals wrong. Even if you consciously want success, your subconscious will pull the brakes. You'll procrastinate on opportunities. You'll underprice your skills. You'll get close to breakthroughs, then sabotage them. Not because you're lazy or afraid, but because your internal compass is trying to steer you away from what it was trained to see as unsafe. And this is the silent war most people are fighting, between the success they crave and the beliefs they inherited. Here's the twist: those beliefs weren't even yours to begin with. They were passed down. Transferred from people who were doing the best they could, but were trapped in survival mode themselves. So, the real question becomes: if your financial beliefs were programmed by others, how do you take control and rewrite them? That's what we'll unlock next. Picture this: your mind is like a theater. On the surface, you're the actor, making decisions, setting goals, chasing success. But behind the scenes, there's a hidden scriptwriter, your subconscious beliefs. These beliefs shape everything: what you think you deserve, how much risk you tolerate, and even how you react to opportunities. You might say, "I want to be financially free." But if the script says, "Money causes problems," then every step toward wealth will feel like swimming against the current. This is what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, when your actions and your beliefs are in conflict, and your brain starts creating discomfort to bring things back into alignment. And guess what usually wins? The belief. Always. Because your subconscious isn't logical, it's protective. It would rather keep you safe and broke than rich and at risk. So here's the cliffhanger. You might be asking, how do I even know what beliefs are running in the background? Start by paying attention to your emotional reactions. When someone mentions their six-figure income, do you feel inspired? Or resentful? When you think about investing in yourself, do you feel excited? Or do you instantly think, "That's too expensive"? Those reactions are clues. Triggers. Proof that your mind is working from an invisible script. And until you consciously change it, no amount of grinding, saving, or hustling will change your outer world. But here's the good news, beliefs are not permanent. They're programmable. And the tool to do it has been in your hands all along. It's not willpower. It's not affirmations on sticky notes. It's something far more powerful, and far more dangerous if misused. Let's talk about it. Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, once said, "Any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought." That's the power of autosuggestion, the act of planting thoughts into your subconscious until they become beliefs. Here's the wild part, you're already using autosuggestion every day. Every time you say, "I can't afford that," or "I'll never be rich," or "That's just not realistic for someone like me," you're reinforcing a script. You're hypnotizing yourself with poverty thinking. But this tool works both ways. You can use it to program limitation, or liberation. The mind doesn't filter for truth. It accepts repetition. That's why advertisers spend billions repeating the same slogans. It's why you remember songs you haven't heard in years. And it's why your brain believes the things you keep telling it, even if they're lies. Now imagine the damage done by a single thought like, "I'm not the kind of person who becomes wealthy." If you tell yourself that daily, consciously or not, it becomes your reality. Not because it's true, but because your brain accepts it as a command. Here's your cliffhanger. What if, instead of letting your mind run on autopilot, you became the programmer? What if you could overwrite that thought with a new one that serves you, not stops you? There's a way to do it. But it's not magic. It takes intention, repetition, and one powerful change to how you talk to yourself. And once you start, your results will follow. Let's get practical. If one thought can keep you poor, then one upgraded thought, repeated with conviction, can start pulling you toward wealth. But don't just repeat random affirmations. Your subconscious isn't fooled by empty hype. It listens to emotion, imagery, and consistency. Here's how to start rewriting your mental code. First, identify the limiting belief. Get brutally honest. Is it, "I don't deserve success"? "I'm bad with money"? "I'll never escape this life"? Name it. Write it down. Because what you can name, you can change. Next, flip it into a belief that feels possible, not fake. Not, "I'm a millionaire," if that feels like a lie. Try, "Every day, I'm learning to attract wealth." Or, "I'm becoming the kind of person who creates value and gets paid for it." Say it out loud. Visualize it. Feel it in your body. Then repeat it daily, especially when old thoughts creep in. The goal isn't to fake confidence. It's to install a new default setting. Your subconscious is like soil. It doesn't care what kind of seed you plant, fear or faith, scarcity or abundance, it will grow whatever you feed it. But here's the catch. Change doesn't happen by accident. You're not just fighting one thought, you're fighting years of repetition, generational beliefs, and emotional patterns. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Your brain will resist. But that's the sign you're on the right track. Because discomfort isn't a signal to stop, it's a sign that you're pushing beyond your programming. And if you stay consistent, something starts to shift. But that's only half the equation. Thought alone isn't enough. There's one more trap people fall into, and it's the reason most positive thinkers stay broke. Let's expose it next. You've probably heard it 1,000 times, just think positive. Smile more. Visualize success. Stay grateful. And while there's value in all of that, positive thinking without aligned action is just a fantasy. Here's what most people miss. You can repeat empowering thoughts all day long, but if your actions are driven by fear, avoidance, or self-doubt, your results will still reflect your old beliefs. You can't affirm your way to wealth while still playing small. You can't visualize abundance while rejecting every opportunity that makes you uncomfortable. Here's a brutal truth. Your bank account is a mirror of your inner comfort zone. If you only take actions that feel safe, you'll stay within the limits of your current identity. But if you start living the new thought, even before it feels natural, something begins to shift. You stop waiting for permission. You start making moves. You feel fear, but you act anyway. That's the moment your subconscious starts paying attention. It says, "Oh, we're serious about this now." It's not the thought alone. It's the thought backed by motion that creates change. Think about someone who's terrified of public speaking. They can say, "I'm confident," in the mirror 1,000 times. But until they step onto a stage, nothing changes. It's the doing that installs the belief, not just the saying. So here's the cliffhanger. What would happen if, starting today, you began making small, uncomfortable moves that align with your new identity? Not someday. Not next week. Today. There's a method for doing this without overwhelm, and it's how you escape the cycle that's been keeping you poor. Let's wrap it up. If you've made it this far, you already sense the truth. It was never about money. It was about the story you've been living. The thought that's been keeping you poor isn't just a sentence, it's a prison. A silent agreement you made with limitation. And the key to escaping it? It's not buried in a book or locked behind some guru's paywall. It's in the small choices you make every day. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. That's not how transformation works. What you need is momentum. Start small. Say yes to the thing that scares you but grows you. Ask for the rate you know you deserve. Spend 10 minutes each morning reprogramming your beliefs, out loud, on paper, with intention. Not once. But daily. Because repetition is what got you stuck. And repetition is what will set you free. This isn't about blind optimism. It's about conscious evolution, stepping into the identity of someone who no longer tolerates mental poverty. You're not meant to survive. You're meant to build, create, expand. But no one can give you permission. No one's coming to rewrite the script for you. You are the thinker. The programmer. The cause. And when that one thought, "I'm not meant to be wealthy," finally dies, it takes the struggle with it. You'll still work hard, but from a place of purpose, not panic. You'll make money, but without guilt. You'll grow, and it will feel right. This is one key. But if you want the whole vault, subscribe.